Hey guys, welcome back to Ollie Talks Airsoft. Today I'm going to be talking about this, which is a Tokyo Marui MWS rifle. This is my main rifle and it's set up in the CQB configuration that I usually go for. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run this rifle tip to butt and show you what's going on here. So on the front you've got a 4-prong flash hider, which is the military. Quite a nice ringing sound. Just behind that I do run a collar on this, and just below is a ZET parts steel barrel, which gives the front end of this gun a lot of weight. Just behind that we have a Surefire. This is a real Surefire. I just found the lenses are quite tough at the front, with a tail switch, which has basically been, I don't know if you can see, I've kind of routed it through here and the switch is sat on top. I also have a fixed post front sight, and what actually happens is when I use the rifle from either side, if it's pitch black, my thumb can easily find the front sight post and slide down it to find my flashlight. So that's the reason I still have that there. You'll probably notice also that I actually don't have an optic. I'll explain that when we get back there. On the front we have a BCM Angled Foregrip, which is swept forward. I did a review on this. I don't think there's any point in getting this gasketed version with the storage compartment, because actually it's not waterproof. I mean, you can store things in it, but you know, I've got other places to store things, so it doesn't really matter that much. The rail that's actually on here is a Geissele Mark II, so it's relatively uncommon. Even in real shooting circles, you struggle to find one of these. So it's pretty cool that I've managed to get my hands on one. And you can see that I've just done my cable management with a couple of bits of electrical tape on the top, and that's actually a fake Magpul QD sling swivel adapter, basically because these ones here, I bought the rails second hand and they've been knackered, so nothing I could do about that. Inside the outer barrel of this there is a 9-ball barrel, I believe. Oh sorry, no, a maple leaf barrel. So it's one of their Crazy Jet barrels. This actually also has a laylax hop-up unit, and inside I've got the laylax nub on top of a 60-degree maple leaf Autobot, I believe. I'll show you the insides in a second. Right, so moving back, this is actually the stock bolt, but I did get BCM engraved into it. I did that at the National Airsoft Festival a few years ago. You know, stood ankle deep in water, getting my bolts laser engraved. Don't know what I was thinking. Pretty cool though. So I've got a flip up rear sight here. If we turn the gun over, you see that we also have a genuine BAD lever, which is a battery assist device. It basically means that you can either hold the bolt open or drop it, or with one hand, or with your trigger finger. It's really good, saves you a lot of time on a gas rifle like this. It's pretty good. I then put on some GMP anti-rotational links because they look cool, no other reason. And then this is a BCM, I believe this is a mod 3, so it's slightly cheaper. So it's basically it's got a little bit of chunk to it, so it's not just a super skinny grip, it's got a little bit of width to it. It's got storage in the bottom. Again, I've not actually bothered testing this because after I tested this one and figured it wasn't waterproof, I'm just not going to put anything that needs to be waterproof in there. Moving back, this is quite interesting. So everything from this point backwards is actually BCM. With the exception of the Ferro Concepts slingster. So you can actually rethread your upper receiver, sorry, your lower receiver, so that you can fit on a real steel buffer tube. So this is actually one that I picked up from Brownells. It came as a kit, so it didn't actually come with the stock. This is also a gunfighter. When you buy the real steel stuff, it does tend to be quite a lot stiffer, which is nice. I do like that. So this is a BCM buffer tube, a BCM castle nut on here as well, and there's also a BCM Angled, but I need to switch this out for a QD version, because at the moment running single point off the back of here is just not very practical. So right, next thing's next. Let's open it up and have a look inside, see what we've done. So right, well, this is the BCM buffer. I do also have a GMP one, which is really similar. It's really good. It has moving weights and it stops with bolt bounce. So basically, any buffer that you can get that's got some moving weights in is probably going to be better. This spring, I can't remember. I got it in Hong Kong. I think it's a. I can't remember if I used an 80% or 120%. I'm really not sure. There's not a lot of difference, to be perfectly honest. It's all pretty similar. So inside here, that's the trigger box. You can probably see that I've got a lightweight ZET plate in there. Kind of just see underneath. If I pick it up, that's what allows me to run the actual bad lever, because obviously the bad lever has a little bit of weight, and it kind of wants to stop the system from working. So as long as you get a lightweight ZET plate, then you're fine. In here, I've really not done a huge amount. I think I actually went back to the original trigger in this. I have had a flat trigger, and I do actually have another TM spec lower coming to me very shortly from Japan. So I basically, because I've got two uppers, I was like, might as well just get a second lower and then just have two guns. Why not? So yeah, relatively stock. You will find if you buy a Tokyo Marui MWS system, the trigger to start off with is shit, and I think a lot of people probably just get put off the system because they're just like, well, it's a terrible trigger. And you know what? For the first like few thousand rounds, yeah, it's not great, but it does wear in, it does break in. This is basically a TM trigger. So if I do it on this side. So nice take up. That's not a bad break, is it? Like, really crisp, really, really nice. So if you've got one of these and you think the trigger's a bit shit, work through it. Just keep going. Fire more rounds. Full auto fire doesn't help. That's not going to help you out. You've got to fire on semi-auto to make it work properly. So in here, this is the stock bolt, but I've also got a steel attachment on the back here, which basically just gives more weight, adds more recoil. I also, because I've got a couple of bolts, I found the screws that hold the bolt, the sort of what would be like, I don't know, the gas port or something. So basically this part here I've now got held on with another screw that just holds it in. The important one to get right is this wide one at the back, basically, because you need it to be wide enough that it covers these parts at the side. Right, come on camera. It's just not playing ball at all. Okay, well, basically you just need to have a relatively wide screw here in order for it to work properly. I've been through a few nozzles. As you can see, that is a GMP valve in there. To be honest, the best nozzles that you're ever going to get for these, after trying a bunch, are TM. Just buy a couple of spare stock TM nozzles. That is the one thing that's always going to break in a gas rifle. I've been through a few nozzles. I've got a friend that's had the rifle the same amount of time as me. He's still on his very first nozzle. And we've both treated our guns pretty similarly. So, still stock charging handle on there. I do have a couple of the variants, and it's so easy to swap between them. So I did, for the look and for the sound, I put on a steel dust cover, which is pretty simple to do. I also did some like brass deflection marks here, just for shits and giggles. And then when we have a look on the inside here, you'll notice that actually all of the stuff in there is basically stock, with the exception of, as you go forward, it's silver, and that's the laylax hop unit, and you can see the 60°. The way that Maple Leaf do their rubbers is they're basically colour coded for the hardness. So in some of my pistols you'll see a green one, which is like 50°, so that's for like low FPS, soft rubber, loads of grip. This, because it's still shooting, I was saying, it's a 60°. I found to be pretty good. UAC used to do a green bucking that was like pretty decent, had good results out of it. But to be honest, anything that you get that's going to be like 60°, it's going to be fine. But you'll probably have to change it out like once a year, depending on how often you play, just because it's going to wear down a bit. But you know, I've had this rifle for pretty much since it came out. I ended up buying a Mega Arms rifle, one of the PTS ones. Picked it up probably like 6 months before TM announced the MWS, and I took it out, and it put me off gas rifles. It was crap. Couldn't get it consistent. Every so often it would shoot incredible, but I don't want every so often. I need to shoot incredible like basically all the time. You know, if you're going out with a 35 round gas mag, yeah, you don't want your shots going all over the place. So with all the things that I've done to this, what were the best? What was the coolest things? Well, attaching the whole rear end, that was really cool. I like the fact that I've managed to get a BCM rear on this gun. But, for me personally, I thought that was sweet. The fact that I've got BCM grips on here, some real ones, I thought again that's really cool. Attaching on a real Geissele rail, that was great. I had to get the barrel nut machine to do it, but 100% worth it. This rail is so much more solid than an airsoft rail. This gun has like no wobble, like it's just, I love it. And finally, the steel barrel. So the steel barrel really adds some heft at the front end, makes it feel that much more like a proper M4 rifle. So this entire package comes in at 3.5 kilos, and the mags are 0.5 kilo each. So that is a 4 kilogram assault weapon that you've got there. So I did mention that I would talk about the fact that I haven't actually got any sights on here at the moment. So what I normally run is, I normally run an absolute co-witness. I know that the lower 1/3 is the more fashionable thing at the moment. But I do, when you're shooting, you do tend to find yourself in some awkward positions, and actually being able to have that point of reference with a fixed, so you can line up with your front sight still, that's kind of useful. I have used that in the past. And also having a rear sight. Now sometimes you'll find your red dot will like bloom a bit, and you need it to become a bit more accurate, you need a little bit more precision. If you flick up your rear sight and then look through this at your red dot, it really crisps up that dot and really makes it super tight. So if you've ever had that problem of, you know, you've got a red dot on your gun, it's blooming up, and you kind of don't want that to happen, then put a rear sight on with a small peephole, look through that at your red dot, and you'll yeah, and it'll crisp it up, and it'll make it look nice again. But that's all I kind of wanted to do. Just give you a quick like rundown of some of the parts that I've used in this. The performance on it is excellent. is really good. It's what you'd expect from a Tokyo Marui. It's not only that, it's what you'd expect from a Tokyo Marui gas rifle. Their pistols are legendary, like everywhere. So yeah, and so are their rifles now, because they did so well with this. They tried so hard, and it's a gas blowback rifle that you can skirmish and still compete. You know, I don't mind going up against 1,000-round box mags with this, because I know that this shoots very accurately and it also shoots very far. So, you know, I can be pinging people 60, 70 meters without too much trouble with this. One of the best moments being at a game. I'd only had this like a couple of months. Took it out, was in a bunker. Some people down at the bottom of a road, fired a couple of shots, hit one, missed the other, and I was like, sniper, sniper. I was like, nice, yeah, that's pretty cool. So yeah, they're really good guns, really, really good guns. But yeah, this is how I have mine set up for CQB. If I'm going to be playing outdoors, I have a slightly different arrangement that I use, and I'll do another video about that. But I'll also have to do another video when my other lower arrives, because I'm going to need to decide what I'm going to do with it. Am I going to turn it into an M16? Am I going to turn it into like a PDW? So this might end up becoming a PDW build. Who knows? Like, and you know, this back end might stay on my long rifle, on my like 13.5. I didn't actually mention. It's a 10.5 inch barrel that I've got in here, and it's a 9.5 inch rail, in case anyone wants to know. So, with all that being said, yeah, this was my rifle. I'll have to do some shooting stuff at some point with it. This is the gun that I probably take out the most. So, yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this, found it, you know, useful. If you want to know more about some of the other parts that I've used, I think I've covered off all the aftermarket things. It's pretty stock. Everyone always asks me, like, how do you get, you know, 60 meters accurately out of an MWS rifle? Don't touch it, just leave it stock. Like, they shoot incredible out of the box. You really don't need to do anything. If I was going to do, one thing, I'd probably change the buffer, to be perfectly honest with you. The GMP one is really good. I've got that. I run that in this rifle here. So this is also a Tokyo Marui MWS system. Bit different. I will obviously do a proper video about this, because it's not really like other MWS rifles, but this has the GMP buffer and it's really good. So, well, that's pretty much it really, to be perfectly honest with you. Yeah, if I was going to do one thing, I'd probably swap out the buffer for one with movable weights in, so I don't get any bolt bounce. Especially if you like shooting full auto, it's going to reduce your rate of fire a little bit, but it'll also give you a little bit more kick, a little bit more realism. And the only time that you really ever get trouble on a gas rifle is like when the bolt will go forward, so the bolt will drop, and then it will kind of bounce like that. Or what's worse is if the nozzle bounces, and then you can get like double feeds and things like that. And as soon as you start doing that, yeah. This does also, because I've made this mistake before, because it has a functional forward assist. I've had my bolt here before, and I've gone, oh well, forward assist works, like smacked it. Yeah, I shouldn't have done that. It's not quite the same as a real gun. There's a lot of like more delicate parts in here that you really don't want to be just smashing. So I do like the fact that this works. I have actually used it before when I had a bolt stuck here and managed to loosen it and send it forward. So I like the fact that it's a working feature, but when your bolt is stuck here, that's not the time to be smacking your bolt catch. That is when you want to like take your mag out, like check it, pull the bolt back, like rack it a couple of times. If the bolt doesn't go all the way forward, it means something's jammed in there. So take it apart. It's quick, you know, one pin, like pop the pin, take it apart. So yeah, you know, that's how fast it is to get into your gun. And that can easily be done hidden behind a barricade, which I've done on a few occasions. But it tended to be when I was running aftermarket nozzles. I've not had the same problem running either a BCM buffer or a GMP buffer. So I think it was like stopping that bolt bounce is what's made the gun even better and more reliable ultimately. And you know, if you can make one of the most reliable gas blow rack rifles on the market even more reliable, you're doing pretty well. So yeah, that's my thoughts and a little bit of talking about my own Tokyo Marui MWS rifle. Hopefully you found this interesting. If you have, leave a like. If you haven't, don't mind. Yeah, maybe subscribe if you want to see some more of this kind of stuff. But anyway, until the next time, take care.